want to, in the meantime, ask me any questions or, steer it the way you want it,
Yeah.
I'm here for you. I mean, you tell me, if you want to know anything. I mean, I've lived in 19 states and I've been to every state in this country. And that was before I was 34 years old. Yeah, I kind of was a road warrior, like a Mad Max. I was, I was out there. Now I'm more subdued. You know what I mean? Staying in the same place for a while and taking care of this cancer crap, and hopefully get to travel some more.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it looks good. I got audio coming in from both
Hey,
of mine.
all right. I'm Brian Forbes, and this is Milwaukee, Oregon, and this is my life story. I'm 65, and I'm going through cancer right now. I'm actually considered a survivor. I'm in remission, knock on wood. Um, I lived in a period of time when things were different, when we left our doors open, when we left our keys in our car, when you could go to 7-Eleven and have your car running and it'd still be there when you got out. And now I wouldn't pay anybody to do that. And people's attitudes were different. People, we could live off the dollar longer. Things were cheaper. Cars were $3,000 new. Houses were $25,000, which you won't see those days anymore.
Yeah.
And even people's attitudes were different. They were happy.
Mm-hmm.
You knew your neighbor. I've been here almost 3 years. I don't even know my neighbors' names. I don't know any of them. And people were more sociable. We worked Monday to Friday, 8 to 5 jobs, had weekends off, celebrated holidays, had barbecues. I mean, it was just a good period. I know we had the Vietnam War, and we had Woodstock, and we had hippies, and we had just like weird things going on. But the 60s were really a unique time. The
Yeah.
music was different. The politics were different. We actually trust politicians back then, which is rare now. Um, I don't know. I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, and my earliest remembrance of Baltimore is the race riots in the 60s.
Oh,
I
really?
remember you couldn't drive through Baltimore without having African Americans, not to sound racist, but throwing rocks at your car because
Really?
you were white and you were in their neighborhood. And there's a big hatred towards that they had towards us. And I can understand why, but the violence part, no, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember when McDonald's sold under 100,000 hamburgers. They used to put on the sign, this is how many burgers were served. Now they can't even put it on the sign. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, billions and billions, right? And I remember a simplicity, living in the suburbs, just a Norman Rockwell kind of a life. And I wish those days were back now, but they're not. And the household I grew up in, my mom was a single mom with 3 kids. My dad was a policeman, but he left when I was 8 years old. So there's a 6 year gap between when my mom remarried, that I didn't have a dad around, and she remarried, excuse me, when I was 13, and we moved to Chicago, from Baltimore after that, because he was a salesman for Honeywell, and we relocated. So I spent like junior high and high school in Illinois, Elk Grove Village, Illinois, and I played AAA ball for Chicago Cubs. I was an outfielder. I didn't pursue it because I really wasn't good enough to be a pro player, but I was good enough to be an amateur player,
Oh,
if
really?
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And excuse me. And my dream was to be an actor, but somehow I put it on the back shelf for a while and didn't really pursue it until I was like 53 years old.
Oh.
So yeah, I got a lot of good gigs then, and I seen a lot of cool TV shows and movies I was involved in. And my biggest regret in life is, in fact, I want to tell people that that see this is to pursue your dream when you're young. If you have a thought in your head or a gut feeling that you want to do something, do it. Don't say, "Oh, I'll do it later." There is no later. Sometimes life gets in the way of your plans, and you end up getting involved in just living and surviving, working in a job you're not happy with, but just trying to survive. I'm all for pursuing your dream, and I'm all for people, at least giving it an effort, trying. You don't want to be the guy on a rocking chair when you're old telling your grandkids, like the movie Waterfront with Marlon Brando saying, "I could have been a contender." You don't want to tell people, "Yeah, I could have been this and that. I just didn't take the time to pursue it." My message to people is pursue your dream, because there's no guarantee in life how long you're going to live and where the road's going to take you. So my only regret is not doing that, And besides that, also not traveling outside this country. I've always wanted to see Canada and Europe.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but I still have a chance to see Canada. Europe, I don't, I can't afford
it's
it. But
expensive.
I'm not done living yet. But while your health is good, that's my message. Pursue your dreams, and while you're sharp, don't let people talk you out of things. Don't let negativity be the catalyst of your life. Believe in yourself if no one else does, and at least give it, the best effort that you can.
Yeah.
And that's my message to young people. As far as life goes, you only get out of it what you put into it. So we all need money. We all need sometimes to do things that aren't part of our dream, or work at jobs that we really want to be a part of. But if you do something, it's better than doing nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my message is to pursue your dream while you have a stable income. And to better yourself, go to college. Go to college. Brush up. Take classes. Get a degree if you can. When I was growing up, a high school diploma was enough. When you apply for a job, they say, "Oh, you graduated high school. All right." Now it's a joke. It's like, yeah, you got a bachelor's, you got a PhD. I mean, it's a different world, And I would tell people, if you want to be part of the mix and be part of being successful, you have to pursue yourself intellectually by making yourself better by going to college, or at least getting on the ground floor of a company that might grow, and you can grow with it, and that'll help you in the end maybe be successful financially, and you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
So,
And then, so when did you first leave Baltimore?
what did I do? What?
When did you first leave Baltimore?
After I left Baltimore?
Or like, when did you leave Baltimore?
Oh, it was 1973.
1973.
1973. I grew up in it's Sparrows Point, Maryland. This is interesting, actually. It was a little island, and off the Chesapeake Bay. And I don't know if you ever heard of Bethlehem Steel. They used to be number one in the world for producing steel in the USA. It's still there today. And everybody that lived on this island worked for the company. And my grandfather did. He shoveled coal, in the steel mill. My dad did until he became a policeman. So the houses we had were like government houses. They all looked the same. Every house on the block, it was Forest Avenue, I'll never forget that, was the same looking house. And it was free rent because, my family worked for the steel mill. Well, now they shut down the island, and they shut down the part of the mass producing part of Bethlehem Steel that made steel. And now the street I used to live in is covered with grass and trees. And I mean, how people can go and point out their house where they grew up? You can't even get to the island where I used to live. There used to be a bridge that connected where I lived to Maryland, part of Maryland. and now you can't even go there.
Really?
So I went there. I went there in the year 2002. My dad, I reconnected with my dad, and he showed me where we grew up at, and we had to look over this big tall fence, and you could see through the chain link fence, just woods, and that's where, yeah, it used to be streets there, and used to be stores, and used to be a high school, and now it's just a skeleton of what it used to be. So
Yeah.
I don't have a past. I have a past, but I don't have one that I can really show people, visually. Like, hey,
I
this
see.
is where
Yeah.
I can't walk around. I can't. So my family was a blue collar family. They made good money. They worked at union jobs, Teamsters jobs. And my mom remarried, and we moved to Chicago, which I hated Chicago. Um, Everybody that I met in school wanted to fight each other. It just seemed everybody wanted to fight. They wanted to meet you after school. It's just a bunch of bullies. I never lived in a place like that. And yeah, it was weird. It was just, I mean, the education was good. The school was great. We had a big school. I had 500 people in my graduating class, and 3,000 people went to my high school. And it's still there today, the Elk Grove Village High School. But when I turned 18, I couldn't wait to get out of town.
Yeah.
So I left. I went to Arizona because I hated winters in Chicago. They were cold and brutal.
Yeah.
And I worked for John Wayne Gacy for 2 days. I don't know if you're familiar who he is.
Yeah.
He's one of the serial killers. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought he was creepy, so I didn't work for him after that.
Wow. Doing what kind of work?
Construction.
Oh,
He
okay.
owned construction
Oh,
companies.
that's right.
And he murdered a guy I knew. My friend was one of the people that he murdered.
Really?
He's an African American guy. And I told my friend, I remember telling him this, you don't want to work for this guy. Something about him, I don't know. But he's just weird,
Yeah.
I have bad vibes about him. And 2 weeks later, my friend was missing. There was missing posters up about him. And I went to the police and I said, this guy, you might want to look at this guy.
Oh.
And it turned out, yeah, he was one of the people that was murdered. I know that's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird to talk about it. It's good at cocktail parties. I can tell people my 2 days of fame working with a mass serial killer. But I actually had to go to court over it and testify,
Really?
He actually invited me over his house for drinks one time. And I said, no. I said, no, I'm busy, or something. But my friend went, and yeah, that was,
Do you think it was that night?
yeah.
Wow. So
Because
you,
that's when after that, and I could have been one of the 33 people he murdered,
oh my God.
and what's weird is I worked at Leonetti's Catering. Elk Grove Village had an industrial park, and about less than 2 miles from the industrial park was Sky Harbor Airport. And at the time, the worst airplane crash in the history of aviation happened there, where an airplane took off, I think it was United, and it lost one of its engines and it flipped. And right after takeoff, it crashed in a trailer park. And I could see the smoke in the background, and I didn't know, what was going on. But a friend that was visiting me at work went to go there, and he was one of the first people that got there. And when he came back, he was traumatized. He was in shock. What he saw was like, he saw bodies and just horrible things. And his name's Jeff Campbell, I'll never forget it. But he was never the same after that. He was just really quiet. And you could tell that he's seen more than he should have seen. He
Yeah.
saw the after effects. And 289 people were killed, plus people on the ground. It hit a trailer park, and those people were killed, a lot of them. And I don't know, I think since then there's been a worse plane crash. But if you Google it, you'll see, it'll show, what happened, right? But I remember, I went outside for a cigarette during my break, and I could see, like, funnels of smoke coming up. and I didn't connect it with the airport. I said, "Oh, there's a fire, right?"
Yeah, that's my
And
first thought would be.
yeah, you
Yeah,
even think,
yeah.
"Oh, it's a plane crash, right?" So, when people say, "Oh, they don't know where I'm from, a suburb of Chicago," but when I tell them about the airplane crash, a lot of them go, "Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Yeah." It's like,
Wow.
so um, during that time, I came from a real dysfunctional family of my mom was bipolar too,
Oh.
and my dad was a functional alcoholic that worked for Honeywell, and he was a mechanical engineer. And as a family, we weren't close at all. There's five of us. I'm 65, my sister's 64, my brother's 63. And we all lived in the same house, but it was like not a family. It was just five people that lived in a house, like strangers.
Yeah.
And we had on the outs, when you look at us on the outside, it looked like a normal functioning family, but we weren't close at all. There was no love in that family. So I kind of learned to be a loner. I kind of kept to myself, and it's kind of sad and lonely to be like that. I mean, I was outgoing and I knew people and I had friends, but as far as the family foundation went, no, there was nothing there.
Yeah.
And me and my mom weren't close, and they all passed on now. They of cancer. My dad died in Sun City West, Arizona, and I hadn't talked to him since 1978, and he died 5 years ago. And my mom died in 1998. I was with her when she died. She had pancreatic cancer, so I connected with her, in the end, just to be there, and help her out. And my brother I haven't talked to in like 24 years, and he lives in Santa Monica, California. And my sister, she found me on Instagram. She lives in Bend, Oregon. This is weird. I hadn't talked to her in 24 years. And she put in a friend's request
Oh,
on
really?
Instagram. I went, "Are you serious?" I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I know her. I think that's my sister. And since then, she's been coming to see me, and she's there for me through the cancer thing. But before the 24-year gap, she was following me on social media.
Really?
Yeah, to see how I was doing, but never connected with me. And then I stayed off social media for a couple of years, and she thought I died or something happened bad to me.
Ah.
So she put in a friend's request. So the first time she came to my door to visit me, I opened the door like, I saw her the day before, no big deal. I said, "Come on in, how's it going?" We talked like, it was weird, like we didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
Like we always, it just,
Wow, 24 years.
yeah, it was really weird. And she has a PhD. She used to be a professor at Portland State University in psychology. And we're getting close, we're bonding and all that. And this is before I knew my cancer was going to get better. She offered to pay for my funeral, which I thought was cool, because I was thinking, how am I pay for my funeral? So she said, "I'll pay for it." And I said, "Okay, sounds good."
Yeah.
And kind of creepy, I know, but we are getting to know each other, and it's a pretty good so far. We're getting along great, and that's just part of my weird life. And she's been dating a guy for 12 years, and he's a guy that put the roof on her house, and she met him, and now they're going to move in together after 12 years.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, why not? I guess, and excuse me, it's good to have her in my life, though. It really is. And we talk about the past, and she's given me disclosure. She admits our family was messed up, and that we have a lot of weird things that happen. And just to get that confirmation from her makes me feel that the way I felt, that it was real, that, that I was right to feel the way I felt, that our family is messed up.
Yeah.
And she just reconfirms that. So it is interesting. She contacts me every day. which is annoying sometimes because I'm a loner. I'm not used to, having her in my life, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And now I have to get used to, telling her every day what I'm up to, which is nothing. I mean, I really don't do anything. So, yeah, that's kind of a weird thing to happen. But as far as I go, I'm still pursuing acting. When I get done with more treatments, I plan on going either Georgia or New Mexico
Oh, really?
because they do a lot of filming there,
Yeah.
a lot of. And I'm going to keep this place, use this like as a home base, but I'm going to pursue, my dream at my age, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though it's sad because Oregon is a beautiful place to do filming, but they don't,
They don't. Yeah.
there's nothing going on. I mean, at all. And I'm on every website, every casting thing, every Facebook group, and it's just nothing.
Yeah.
And it's sad. I mean, I don't know if you're around when they did Grimm. Remember the show Grimm in Portlandia?
Yeah.
The librarians?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, now it's nothing. It's like once in a while they'll do a movie here, but
I know it's almost bizarre when you see Portland in a movie or a TV show.
Yeah.
It's such a treat. It's such a beautiful place.
I mean, do we have that bad of a reputation that people are scared? I mean, what is the deal with, we're right next to California, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
there must be some sort of incentive problem.
I think
in some sense, right?
they took away that. I know New Mexico and Georgia have incentives for the filming industry to come
Yeah.
to, and so what do you want to know? I don't know what to do.
Yeah, no, totally. I think
I mean,
I'm curious to know about. You went to Arizona after Chicago,
yeah.
and were you homeless at the time, or were you?
I started, all right, when was my first time I was homeless? That's a good question. I would say I lived in 19 states, so 7 of those states I was homeless in. I was homeless from 1999 to about 3 years ago. So that was about 2020. And during that time, I just traveled a lot. Mainly it would be staying in hotels here and there, motels. Not hotels, motels. Hotels are nicer. Or I had a car most of the time, and I'd stay in my car, and it was rough. I hated it. When people ask me if I could have cancer and not be homeless, or be homeless and not have cancer, which one would it be? I said cancer. I'd actually take cancer over not being homeless. It was just rough, physically, mentally. The way people treated you, they have assumptions. They assume that you're a loser, a drug addict, you're a felon, you have an addiction problem, you're lazy, you're a bum. And it's not that. When you're on a fixed income and you don't make that much, and you don't have a rental history, or your credit score is not that good, you're not going to get many breaks. And I did. I mean, I met some good people, but for the most part, I became a loner. I just stayed away from people, and you could never tell I was homeless. I always had a lot of pride, and I tried to keep clean, and I belonged to a health club, and I worked, and dressed nice, and wouldn't tell people I was homeless,
Really?
Kind of kept, low profile, and, the subject came up sometimes. People would want to come to my place, and I said, there is no place to come to. And it's hard on relationships,
Oh, yeah.
Women want a guy that's successful and all that. So it hurt, but I would say Arizona's the first place. And it was Flagstaff, Arizona. I don't know if you're familiar with Arizona, but
yeah.
that's up north, and it was it's cold in the wintertime there. It's really bad. You have to deal with the elements, and mainly I worked in labor pools, like Labor Ready, and they're just places where they pay you every day, and you know, just to get by. I live day by day, so that kind of stunk. I would say it wasn't until about 3 years ago that I got my act together, and by moving to here, that I got a couple breaks, and I was able to get my own place, and Oregon was a good place. They actually helped the homeless out, and Seattle too. Seattle's not a great place to live, but if you're homeless, they'll help out. You know, the homeless. They have programs and all that. Other places I lived in didn't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah. What kind of helped spur that getting your act together 3 years ago?
COVID.
COVID. Yeah.
COVID put a lot of people indoors because you know, everybody was, you know, afraid of getting sick and you know, catching the virus. So it was called the Multima Do Good program, and it was funded by the state. And at the time, they had a $35 million budget. So they put us in a hotel at the Marriott Lake Oswego. It was nice. And then we got to pick out our own apartment. So it changed to Section 8.
Okay.
So actually, I'm at Section 8 now, where I pay like, rent here is like $1,100, and I pay like about $93. That's a good deal.
Yeah.
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 And they have different services. They have Meals on Wheels. Because I have cancer now, I have access to more different government-assisted programs. I have Meals on Wheels, but I don't use them. I have Ride to Care, which I can get a ride to all my appointments. You know, I don't have to pay anything. So yeah, it's a good program, man. They really take care of people here.
Yeah.
You know that. And it's funny. I don't like the homeless. I can't stand them. This is kind of weird. People figured that I would have a bond with them. When I was homeless, I dealt with people with a lot of addiction problems and a lot of people that. Oh, do you mind if I take my medicine real quick?
Oh,
down
please do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you short. I'm just.
Yeah, I want you to.
I got to take it on a timely thing. So.
Yeah.
I keep it in my shoe. Good thing, huh? So what it was they would steal from me. Every time I accumulate something and try to hide it, because I didn't have a storage bin or anything, so I'd hide it in the woods and my stuff, and they'd steal my sleeping bag or my bags and my backpack. And I was constantly buying stuff, you know, replacing it. And you know, I had a lot of confrontations with people trying to attack me and weird stuff. And these were people that, you know, had mental issues and actually should have been hospitalized, you know. And there was, Reagan, when he was in office, you know, as president, he closed down a lot of the mental institutions.
Really?
Salem has that mental institution where they filmed The One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and they closed that down. And the only thing out here is Cedar Hill Hospital in Sunnyside. And Providence Hospital has a short-term part of their hospital, a psych ward, where they'll put you in from 3 to 4 days and then they kick you out. So that's not going to help people. People need housing, they need medication. So I had to deal with a lot of those people, you know.
Yeah.
And I had a couple really weird situations where, like, they just confronted me, you know, came up to me, especially on the train and on the bus.
Really?
Yeah. So I stay away from public transit now. Yeah, just a month ago, this guy was giving his my Mexican friend a hard time, and I interfered, and the guy swung at me but missed. His fist went by like the bus driver didn't do anything, by the way.
Oh, of course not. Yeah.
Now, and the police, I called them, they didn't do anything. But so the guy left the bus. He was crazy. You could tell he was crazy. He just wanted to fight, you know. And so I walk a lot, you know. It's sad. Or use Lyft. I mean, it's pathetic, isn't it? I can't even use public transit. I don't get killed. So, you know, it just seems that people don't care anymore. Nobody, you know, sticks up for anybody or helps anybody. You know, and the police, when I called them, the first thing they said is, "We can't do anything for you." I said, "Really? Okay. Why do you guys even exist? What is your job now?"
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and I just hung up on them. So it's like we're on our own here, you know? So my friends are saying I should carry a gun. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that because I might use it. That's why I don't, you know, I don't want to hurt anybody. I really don't. And I know that certain kinds of people are very mentally ill, and you got to be really understanding about their condition, even though at the time, you know, it makes you angry because the state and the federal government aren't doing anything about it to help these people.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not into politics that much, but it's pretty lacking out here, you know, in Portland. We have a really bad reputation. My friends in Texas laugh at me, and they're from Texas. I say, "You're laughing at me and you're from Texas?" They go, "We see Portland on the news out here. We're on the news in Texas."
Yeah, they love to talk about Portland.
Yeah, they do. They love everybody, you know, even Donald Trump hates what Mayor, I call him Wheeler Dealer, but Mayor Willard, I mean, they think, thank God he's retiring, man. But our politics are pathetic. They really are, you know?
Yeah. It was curious to hear Portland referred to in the presidential debates.
I like
over
that.
And over again.
Well, I always get the same old story. "You should have been here in the 90s. It was great." I said I should be a lot of places in the 90s. Austin is getting like Portland now, Austin, Texas. And I was, "Oh, you should have been here in the old days." I keep missing the bus. Where do you go in this country? No, there is no place that says, "Come here, it's paradise," right?
Yeah.
It seems there's an influx and infiltration of homeless everywhere now, right? I mean, you know, Beverly Hills, California now has it. Beverly Hills used to be, you know, "Hey, I'm rich, I'm famous." You know, the police show up right away because we pay taxes. Now it's like, you know, they just let these people roam around without helping them. And people like us, to try to live a decent life, are affected by the actions of these people, you know?
Yeah.
I was on a train once, taking a Milwaukee train. Right down the street here is the train station where the Milwaukee train ends. I was coming back from a doctor's appointment from Portland. Someone shot through the window, and the bullet went by me, missed me by this much, by this much. I mean, if I would have leaned over, or if they were a better shot, they would have hit me.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just riding a train to go home, right? I mean, that could have been my epitaph. "Man killed while trying to get home."
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy world. It's a crazy world out there.
Yeah. Well, it seems like you've dodged death a number of times in your life now.
I know. I mean, I got a million stories that you'd laugh. When I was 13, I forgot to tell you this. I had a rare stomach disease, and I was the first. In fact, I'm in a John Hopkins medical book.
Oh.
I was the first one in this country to have the kind of stomach surgery. I had a scar that goes like a mile long, and the second in the world. The first person to have this surgery was a little girl in London.
Okay.
And and it's called Hirschsprung's disease. What it is it's a poisoning of the lower intestinal tract, and they had to take out 2 feet of my intestines, take out half my stomach, and relocate. That's why I'm skinny like I am, and relocate all my organs inside. Yeah, I was in a hospital for 6 months. My surgery was 17 hours. I was 13 years old. And if I didn't have the surgery done, I would have been dead in 6 months. So right out of the gate, I had a hard life.
Yeah.
I mean, I had, it just seems my whole life was like one episode after another, you know. And it seemed like it was a bunch of negative stuff, you know. And I said to God, I go, God only gives you what you can handle. I said, no more. You could give it to someone else. All right, you gave me enough shit. All right, and it just keeps going and going and going. And I don't like either. He thinks I'm strong, which I'm not, or it just seems like sometimes we're dealt with a certain hand in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had I have a newspaper article on my phone when I was homeless in Hesperia, California. That's in the high desert. It's like 5:30 in the morning, and I'm going to like, no, I didn't go inside the dumpsters. I'm not like that, but I was looking for cans. You know, I did recycling,
Hmm.
and off in the darkness, I could see like flames. You know, like a building on fire. So I went there to see what was going on, and there's a bunch of people outside screaming on it. An apartment complex was on fire. So I went inside, and I carried out 9 children
You're
and a
good.
couple old people, and I ended up being in the newspaper and in the news, and I got a medal for it, but I turned the medal down, and it was like a citizen's medal that you get for saving someone's life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so they paid for a year of my rent. Yeah, they
Did
put
they
me
really?
indoors for a year. Yeah, and I was kind of had to put up a statue of me. It was weird because that was the biggest thing that ever happened, and it was a town of 25,000, like a
Right.
farming
Yeah.
community. And I was like, oh, the man, the hero. And I was like,
Wow.
I was just being human. I mean, I couldn't stand.
Yeah.
The biggest crime would be if I walked away and did nothing.
Yeah.
I got burnt. I was in the hospital for a while. But the weird thing is, I was the only one that did something about it. I mean, the parents were outside. Oh, you got to do something. Help us. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure.
Oh
And
my gosh.
I'm thinking, wait a minute, this is your child inside there, and you're outside
Yeah. Yeah.
yelling and screaming, waiting for the police to come. But see, it was the high desert, and most of the roads were covered with sand. So it was hard for emergency vehicles that were heavy to drive through the sand. So the
Oh.
response was, I mean, it seemed like forever. So I was hurt, and some people died in the fire. Yeah, and it was sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I showed my sister that, and she thinks, oh, I'm so proud of you. I said, well, I didn't show it to you for that. I mean, I just wanted to show you what I've been doing with my life. I mean, moments in my life.
Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
wanted to be congratulated. I just wanted to be human, and do what I thought. Well, and she goes, I don't think I could have done that. And people always say that to me. I couldn't do what you did. I'm like,
Hmm.
I go, well, you'll be surprised what you can do when the moment arises.
Okay.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I think it's pathetic actually that people didn't help me out, and grown men out
Yeah.
there. It really made me look at human nature differently. I'm like, leave it up to me, right? I can do it. I look like I have an S on my chest.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm homeless.
Superman.
Hello. I mean, you're healthier and bigger than me, and here I am.
Yeah. I mean, there were. You're not receiving help from anyone, and
No,
just
I was
in
on my
there.
own, and it made me mad because the fire was spreading quickly, and the stairs that I was going on, started buckling under. And then it came to the point I couldn't get in, I couldn't go up, you know, to help anybody else. So I moved as fast as I could. I don't even know why I brought that up. It's just something that crossed my mind. It was
Yeah.
part of me being homeless. When you're homeless, you move around a lot. You have a car. You drive around. You find ways to occupy your time. Like if I was tired, I didn't have the privilege of going home to sleep. Right? I had no idea for 21 years what was on TV. People, oh, did you see that show last night? Did you see that ball game? No, I'm homeless. I don't know what happened. I didn't even know what movies are. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah.
So, especially like when I didn't have a car, that was the worst. Being on foot, being homeless, the weather, especially in Portland. In the wintertime,
Not
rain,
easy.
rain, rain. So I had, oh
Hmm.
God, it was a lot of tarps and a lot of trying to survive, and it was hell. Spending time on trains, just riding trains all day. Yeah,
Yeah.
it sucked, and you don't want to carry backpacks around, especially in Fred Meyer. I don't know if you know Gateway. If you're
Mm-hmm.
familiar with Gateway Fred Meyer, they actually have policemen for security there.
Yeah,
And you don't want to go in there with a backpack.
yeah. Oof.
They look at you like, are you going to steal? I know, I shop here, I ain't going to
Yeah.
steal. So, I had to deal with attitudes and all that. And yeah, so when people say, oh, this cancer must be the hardest thing you ever had to deal with your whole life, I go, no, this is like the third hardest thing.
Yeah.
Like I survived this and survived 21 years of homelessness. Uh,
Yeah. What kind of I don't know, mentality or approach do you feel like helped keep you sane while you were homeless, experiencing all
That's a very good question. You're the only one that ever asked me that. How did I do it? Hope.
that? Oh,
I always thought that as as if you put one foot in front of the other every day. First off, if you wake up and you're alive, that's half the battle. And if you just keep purging forward and you have a dream, and my dream was not to be famous, but to be an actor to make a living at it.
okay.
Even though 7% of people in acting make a living at it, those odds already would tell you to quit, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I came so close, so close. And I've had COVID ruined. I was going to be in a film, and I had a small part with Carol Burnett in the film. I had a
Okay.
scene with Carol Burnett. It's called Kind of Like a Rock Star. You can Google it and see.
Uh-huh.
The day before my scene, they canceled it
You're kidding.
because the film they put it on hold because of COVID. Yeah, I had. Oh man, my life is pathetic. Just when I had like moments where I was almost turning the corner, something would happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's what was my dream, and that kept me going. And then I came to the realization that it's not really going to happen. Not yet. Not yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As long as I'm alive, I still have a chance. But that's what kept me going. That was the only thing. If I didn't have that, I probably would want to just die. I never thought about suicide.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about giving up. Um, in fact, I had friends from when I was homeless, way back years ago, that they just never met anybody like me. They thought, hey, you're a remarkable human being. You just don't give up. And I said, well, if I don't hang in there, who will? Who will do it for me? Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about me. I mean, what I do, right? And you really learn what you're made of. You really do, and you'll be surprised what you're made of. If you're put in that situation, you can sink or swim.
Yeah.
I chose to swim. So. But 21 years is way too long to have to experience that.
Yeah.
Way too long.
Would you say that's kind of like the same mentality and approach that you've had with when you were diagnosed with cancer?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it carried on. Um, what's the old saying? It's not the dog in the fight, but the fight in the dog.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I consider myself a coward. Yes, I do. And I'm not that strong. But my actions speak different because I never give up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I don't know what it is. I think it's embedded in me that because I've had a hard life since I was young, that I just don't give up. And
Yeah.
I can't see myself quitting. I just don't. I mean, um, and I think that's a good attribute I have. You know, people they tell me, oh, when doctors tell you you only have 6 months to live, you might want to finish your bucket list. That's what they told me. You might want to go
Yeah.
travel and whatever. And I'm like, what? What are you? You're like telling me to give up?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, no, you don't know me at all. I don't care what your statistics say. And I proved them wrong. I proved them wrong, which I've been doing my whole life. I have proved so many people wrong that were trying to tell me what I'm about and don't even know me.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what's inside here. And,
Yeah.
I love proving people wrong. I really do. But it's not about that. It's about me trying to feel good about myself,
Yeah.
and just trying to get some kind of quality out of life. That's you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. How long ago now were you given 6 months?
9 months ago,
Nine
nine
months
months and
ago.
a half ago,
Yeah.
I was giving. I'm like, I did the math. Felt like calling the doctor saying, "I'm not dead yet. What happened? What's wrong? Come on." Yeah. So it looks like I extended my. Now it's like 2 to 5 years. That's my new time frame.
Oh, God.
See, they like to cover their ass. They do 2 to 5 years.
Right.
So
They're like, well.
yeah, they got it all covered, don't they? So so they look okay with their diagnosis. I'm gonna think I'm gonna be around for a while, so I ain't
Great.
worried about it. I'm not worried about it at all. Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't like short hair.
Yeah, the chemo you were telling me
Yeah, that's why
before.
I'm not getting. It'll grow back. It takes a while though. It takes a while. Um, yeah, I still have the after effects of chemo, but eventually things will get better. I'll get healthier. But what it does, it changes your outlook on things.
Yeah.
The things, how you look at life is different. How you look at people, how you treat people, how you would like to say something to somebody, but you figured, oh, I'll tell them down the road, or you tell them now that you appreciate them. You don't put off things, you do it now. It's just part of the package of being a cancer survivor, that time is more important. You don't take it for granted, which is nice. So I do appreciate at least that knowledge that I got. You
Yeah.
know, so
Um, well, not to totally change it up on you, but
yeah,
have you ever been in love?
no,
No.
no, that's another regret. In fact, that goes with my second wish. The only thing I ever wanted in my whole life, besides maybe having a career at acting, was to have a little girl that I could raise, a daddy's girl. But with that comes a wife,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? But I was never in love. I don't know what's weird. I think I traveled so much, and I was a recluse and kept to myself. I dated and I had girlfriends like everyone else, but I was never in love. No, you know, never experienced marriage. And, to be a single guy and try to adopt a child is impossible. They just won't let
Yeah.
you have it. They
Yeah.
won't let you. You got, first off, stable environment, certain kind of income, track record, a certain kind of track record. There's no way in heck that I could ever fulfill that dream. And yeah, I regret, never being in love. I don't know what it's like. I mean, I can imagine, but I'm at the point now, you get to a point where you're just happy with and content with being, single and being not a loner, but just being in my life situation. I'm just used to it. And if I never fall in love, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I wouldn't have been a good boyfriend or husband, but why marry out of the sake of marriage? To
Definitely.
someone that it wouldn't be doing justice for me or the woman.
Yeah.
You ever been in love?
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
turn the
I
tables on
haven't.
you. I could ask you for advice. What's it like? I don't know.
No, I was just curious.
Well, my sister, she's always had someone in her life all the time. She's been married twice, and between marriages, a boyfriend, and she just seems to find somebody, and
Yeah.
I think because she's successful. I think that in her line of work and her lifestyle, she meets good people. Being homeless, I don't think I'm going to meet the
Absolutely.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I already knew that. So I mean, I was engaged one time
Oh,
to a
really?
girl I didn't really care about. I mean, I cared about her as a person, but not as a and just for the sake of getting married, I was going to get married, but we called
Yeah.
it off
Yeah.
after a while. Yeah, because we realized there's nothing there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's as close as I came to marriage. You know.
Yeah, well, I feel like there's always at least fleeting moments of love with other people, even if there isn't marriage in the book
Right,
necessarily,
right.
right? So,
Well, you got to figure, you come from, my mom was married 3 times.
okay, yeah,
So my dad 3 times, my stepdad 3 times. Three is a magic number, it seems. So I
yeah,
didn't really have a good foundation for inspiration there. I'm
yeah,
like, no, I didn't want to. I didn't want to get married and to get divorced later. I just seemed like a defeatist attitude. I mean, it just seemed like the kind of thing that it would defeat the whole purpose of the foundation of marriage.
yeah, yeah,
I'm in for keeps, and I got to the point where I didn't really want to share my life with anybody. As I got older.
I see.
It just seems like your dreams and your plans and your idealisms change as you get older. What you liked when you were younger, it just seems like it was just a passing thing. And then you readjust your thinking and the way you look at things, and your goals change and your needs change. So it wasn't that important of a factor to me now than it used to be. And that comes with age.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to explain 65 years to you. I've led a really weird life. Um, I've overcome so much that I tried to commit suicide twice. I don't know why I brought that up, but I was 18 and 28 years old.
Really?
Yeah, one was overdosing when I was 18, and I shot myself when I was 28. Yeah, so. But the weird part, I'll tell you the weird part. I mean, I don't think that way now. I was just messed up, and I had a gun, a 9mm. I never forget it, in my apartment, and I had a cat. I had 2 cats, and I had the gun pointed at me, and the cat jumped up on me. And when the cat jumped up, the gun moved, and it went off and grazed my face.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so, and the bullet ended up going into the apartment wall, which I'm glad nobody heard it.
Yeah.
So the cat saved my life, kind of a weird thing, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Because you.
That is,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so after that, I sold the gun.
Wow.
No, that was enough to scare me.
Yeah, yeah.
And the cat, I love that cat, So every day that I'm here, once in a while I think about the cat, I think a cat saved my life. That's kind of weird, but I mean, not that I'm that way now, but at the moment, my mom died, and I
Yeah.
was grieving, and even though we had a dysfunctional relationship, she was part of my history. She was a parent. I mean, we don't pick our parents, unfortunately. Sometimes we get bad parents, and I loved her in a kind of a offbeat way. It's all I had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had better, and she probably wished she had a better son. I don't know. But when I watched her die of pancreatic cancer, it took its toll on me mentally. It's just drained me, and so I was grieving, and that was my way of handling it. And I went through substance abuse and drinking, and I've been like sober for like 25 years now. So I don't drink or do,
Yeah,
drugs or anything. So yeah, life's worth living, no matter how boring or pathetic it gets sometimes. Can we take a break
yeah. Oh, of course.
for a second?
Yeah,
I gotta go out and have a cigarette. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, I smoke. Yeah, I smoke. They say you're in remission and you're buying cigarettes. I said, yeah, why not? I mean, they find me. Yeah, I'm weird, but my goal, and it's been like this for a long time, is not to really talk about myself and how I'm this and that, because I'm just a guy, but to inspire people. No, I really, if what we get out of this is if I can help people be better, then that's an Oscar to me. It is. It really is important to me. You'll have this on film. I don't know how long I'm gonna live. It could be a year, 2 years. But at least you always have this, and I hope that when you show it to someone, they can say, hey, that's the kind of guy I could have coffee with and hang out with. No, I want people, like, I don't know, strangers. You're a stranger until you become a friend. That's my attitude. But if I can inspire people to motivate them to pursue their dreams and to not give up on themselves and don't hang around the wrong people, don't abuse yourself mentally, don't be so down on yourself. You know, the beautiful thing about tomorrow is we have a second chance, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to get the first time right. That's my attitude. Um, a lot of people have defeatist attitudes. They think, you know, they want to live in the negative. I notice that a lot about people. They live in the negative all the time. I choose to walk away from that world. And no matter how bad things are, I try to look at the good, the bright spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
About things
yeah.
like that. And if you have a life-threatening disease, you'll kind of really see what you're made of. You really will test the way you think, the way you feel, the way you act. I mean, I don't wish this on anyone, of course, but from the people that have this disease that I have, that I've talked to, the older people, I met a guy, and I'll never forget this. For 2 years now, he has cancer from head to toe. In
Mm.
fact, he's 73. How he's still alive? Oh, he has pancreatic cancer. That right there will kill you, right? Really fast. No, he has brain cancer, lung cancer, pancreatic cancer, and for 2 years now he's been getting chemo. Well, he got done like his last treatment, and then they wanted to do some more treatments in the future, but he said no, I'm going to take off a month.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what he did was he went on a cruise, but the first 2 weeks of his cruise, he slept in his cabin because the chemo had such a side effect. He wasn't able to enjoy his vacation.
Mm.
And I said to myself, that ain't quality of life.
No,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's sad. But he's still alive, but he's alive, but not healthy. You know what I mean? He's like very unhealthy, healthy, if there's such a thing. He's staying alive by the skin of his teeth. And this is a guy that really wants to live, you know, really wants to live. So I met a lot of people that inspired me to fight, you know, to hang in there. Because if this guy can do this, I mean, just think, if you're 73 years old, you lived a pretty good life. You lived a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they say you have cancer, you're going to die. Well, people would say, well, I lived long enough, right? This guy, no, he's not giving up. He wants to live as long as possible. And he was very inspiring to me, you know, that I still look not bad for having my disease. And I'm still kind of, you know, young enough that I can buy a couple years. And all I am doing is buying time. That's all we're doing here.
Uh-huh.
They can't cure me. And all I'm doing is just trying to extend my life. That's all I'm doing. But what I'm telling people is never give up, fight the fight, believe in
Yeah.
yourself, you know, surround yourself with good people and positive people. Um, and that's all I want to do is inspire people, you know. I had an interview once from, I did a podcast and it was about artists from around the nation. And the guy that interviewed me, of course, it was on a Zoom like thing, but throughout the interview, I wouldn't talk about myself that much. And he
Mm-hmm.
was kind of surprised because, you know, everybody's talking about themselves. And I'm a dancer, I'm a model, I'm an actor.
Uh-huh.
No, by the time I got done, all the comments, there was a comment session, and most of the people said, I'd like to meet this guy. I like to hang out with him. He's very inspiring. You know, they said the things I wanted to hear.
Uh-huh.
You know, you know, most artists love to brag about their projects and all that. I'm not into that.
Mm-hmm.
I've done so many that it doesn't matter to me. It's like a hobby, you know, like coin collecting or stamp collection. Oh, another coin, another stamp, you know, another project, right? To me, it's just second nature. I think that I was meant for higher things than just serving my own needs, you know. And I like to think that at least I make a difference, if even if it's a small difference in somebody's life, you know.
Yeah.
So,
No, I think that's great. Um, well, in the nature of wrapping up things on a positive note,
mhm.
um, what are some things that you're most grateful for?
I'm grateful for the sun rising and the sun setting. I'm grateful to see things and to connect with people.
Yeah.
that I didn't think that I would have much time with. I'm grateful my sister's back in my life. Um, I'm grateful I'm getting healthy. God,
Yeah.
knock on wood.
Me too.
I'm grateful that maybe I could pursue my dream a little bit longer. I'm grateful for you, meeting new people. I'm grateful if they stay healthy, wealthy, and wise. I wish the best for you and people. Um, I'm grateful for not knowing what's ahead, but looking forward to the unexpected. I am grateful for what's about to happen that I have no idea yet. But what did Forrest Gump say? Life's a box of, you know.
Yeah,
I know you
life's a
hate that.
box
I
of
always hated
chocolates.
that too. My friends don't even like when I quote him. They're like, "Oh God," but you don't know. You really, I bought my sister this hat. This is weird, and she likes the outdoors. She goes to national parks. She camps. And she's gonna love this gift. To me, this is no big deal, but to her, it'll be like the greatest thing since sliced bread. She'll say, "Oh my God!" But I just do that. I like giving to people. I like thinking of other people. I don't like to put myself first.
Yeah.
I'm very shy about that. That'll come with the territory. If you just stay grounded and care about other people, success will come to you.
One
Maybe that's
second.
success right there. I just like, just like being able to enjoy things more that I took for granted, after going through the experience I'm going through now. And that's about it. you know I might have more answers for you next time, but for now, that's where I'm at.